It's been a long off season without football, but FanDuel has spent it getting into the best shape of their lives. That means this. FanDuel is ready for more. More ways to play. More ways to challenge your friends. And most importantly, more ways to win. FanDuel also has new options for playing daily fantasy with your friends, because the only thing better than winning cash is winning your friends cash. Right now, you can get a $20 bonus when you make your first deposit on FanDuel. Just sign up at FanDuel.com/Stephen A. Age and state restrictions apply.
This is the Stephen A. Smith Show podcast.
I'm Stephen A. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the latest edition of the Stephen A. Smith Show, coming at you as I love to do every weekday over the airwaves of ESPN Radio, 250 plus markets across the United States of America. Check your AM, FM dial, plus ESPN Radio on Sirius XM channel 80, plus the Stephen A. Smith Show, ESPN Radio, simulcast live over the national television airwaves of ESPN News. Number to call up as always is 888-SAY-ESPN. That's 888-729-3776. You can catch me on Twitter, on Facebook, and on Instagram, all at Stephen A. Smith. Feel free. Have no problem with that. I have a question. You know what that question is, ladies and gentlemen? Who the hell was that caller that called me yesterday? Where is he? I want to know where this caller's at that called me yesterday raving about Atlanta, raving about the Atlanta Falcons, raving about what they were supposed to do against the Philadelphia Eagles, reminding me of the MVP, former league MVP that was Matt Ryan. Where's this guy at? Where is he? Excuse me. Because I got to tell you something right now. I bet you I can't find him now. I bet you can't find him after that atrocious offensive performance by the Atlanta Falcons. Couldn't get in the end zone to save their life. And I'm looking at a guy, Matt Ryan, throws the ball 43 times. I'm looking at an unbalanced offensive attack by the Atlanta Falcons, throwing the football about 43 times, rushing it about 16 times. I'm looking at Julio Jones, an absolute stud. You couldn't get the football in the end zone to this man. I'm looking at Matt Ryan just allowing Steve Sarkisian to look worse and worse as an offensive coordinator with each passing week, seemingly incapable of making the right call. Quinn allowing it to take place, meaning Coach Quinn, Dan Quinn, because you got go first and goal and can't get the ball in the end zone. And oh, by the way, on a fourth, when you decided to go with it on a fourth down, you're going to run a sweep. I mean, what the hell is that about? Philadelphia Eagles ended up winning the game last night, 18-12 at Lincoln Financial Field. And I'm just looking at the guy, Matt Ryan, who since 2011, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, the last 7 years, this man has thrown for over 4,000 yards. He's been in the league for 10 years. He's making $30 million a year. He is clearly the face of the franchise, but evidently doesn't have the power to audible and to make the right calls and to do what he deems necessary in order to win a damn football game. I've said it to you before. I'll say it again. It was a beautiful start. Excuse me. To the 2018 season. A beautiful start to it. But in the end, here's the deal. You look at the Philadelphia Eagles, the outcome was predictable. When I think about it, excuse me for coughing a little bit, I actually need water after all, I'm struggling. When you look at the Philadelphia Eagles, couldn't run the football for 3 quarters. Couldn't do it. Dan Clement rushes for 21 yards in the carry. Jay Ajayi skirts 11 yards for a touchdown. He ends up having 2 touchdowns on the evening. When they needed to get it done, they got it done. The Eagles prevail. To me, I'm looking at a Fletcher Cox on defense. I'm looking at a Brandon Graham. I'm looking at Haloti Ngata. I'm looking at Darby and his defense of Julio Jones. And I'm saying it's exactly what I thought would happen. The Eagles will wear Atlanta down because they're gifted, they're gifted, they're athletic, they're skilled, but Atlanta is undersized. If you ground and pound, you can wear them down. And when you wear them down, they won't have but so much left in the fourth quarter, and it's exactly what happened last night when it really, really counted. And on the defensive side of the ball, the Philadelphia Eagles got a bunch of Rough Riders. Plain and simple, they got a bunch of Rough Riders. Excuse me. They show up. They get physical. They get all up in you. Whether it's bump and run, it doesn't matter. They clearly get after the quarterback. They're going to put a hat on you. And if you're the Atlanta Falcons, you're going to have a problem with that. You really, really are. And when I look at Atlanta right now, I see a team that's gifted, but relatively soft. Not really, really capable of dealing with that grind, that pounding, etc. They're not really capable of doing that. That's who the Atlanta Falcons are. We can slice it any way we want to. That's who they are. And until things change, it's going to be more of the same. The Atlanta Falcons are a team talented enough to win the Super Bowl, to win it all, and stupid enough not to make the playoffs. That's the Atlanta Falcons. Philadelphia Eagles going to be there. I'm not concerned about Nick Foles and the fact that he didn't look great last night. I'm not concerned about the fact that he struggled so much. That doesn't mean anything to me. I'm not concerned because I believe in the Eagles as a team. Nick Foles ain't their franchise quarterback. 19 for 34, 117 yards, a relatively pedestrian performance. Did everything but beg the Atlanta Falcons to intercept them. He had only one interception, which wasn't his fault, but there were several drops where you could have intercepted Nick Foles. Didn't happen. But you look at the Eagles right now, in terms of a collection of talent, and I already told you what was on their defensive line. I didn't even bring up Michael Bennett. When you add Michael Bennett to the equation, when you add him to the equation, and you look at all that the Eagles have at their disposal, I'm sorry, they're incredibly formidable. And if the road to the Super Bowl has to go through Lincoln Financial Field, good luck with that. And by good luck with that, I mean everybody, and especially the New York Giants, the Washington Redskins, and the Dallas Cowboys, members of the NFC East. It's going to be a long season. Having to go through Lincoln Financial Field, I'm here to tell you right now. Redskins got questions on their offensive line. Dallas has questions in their receiving corps. Giants have questions on the defensive side of the ball and the offensive line. I got news for you. Saquon Barkley can ball. Odell Beckham Jr. can ball. Eli Manning is a two-time Super Bowl champion at age 37 with 2 Super Bowl MVPs. I'm sorry. I don't see how they're going to deal with Philadelphia. I think New Orleans can. I think the Rams have a shot. I think Aaron Rodgers, that bad man that he is, he's got a shot. Minnesota, I'm not so sure. Because whatever problems you had with Case Keenum in the NFC Championship game at Lincoln Financial Field, when you got ramrodded by the Eagles 38-7, I'm sorry, Kirk Cousins is supposed to make it abundantly better? I don't see that. I don't see that. So these are the kind of things that I'm looking at as this season gets set to unfold. It has officially started because the Eagles won a game last night. They looked sloppy. They looked butt ugly offensively. So did the Atlanta Falcons. For the most part, they were moving the ball but couldn't get it in the end zone. Obviously, Matt Ryan targeting Julio Jones the last 20 times in the red zone, only completed one pass. One for the last 20. That's just pathetic. I'm going to look at Sarkisian, but I'm also going to look at Matt Ryan. Are you the man or aren't you? You big time enough. You certainly getting paid big time enough where you should have the prowess and the power to sit up there and say, yo, coach, this ain't going to work. We need to do something different. That's what needs to happen here. And for Steve Sarkisian's sake, I hope it does, because if it doesn't, he'll probably lose his job. This will probably be his last year in Atlanta as the offensive coordinator. 888-SAY-ESPN. That's the number to call up. That's 888-729-3776. That's just one item that I wanted to get into. The other item I wanted to get into is just what's on the schedule, man. What's on this schedule? What's on this NBA and NFL schedule? Because I got news for you. There's a few games that I'm incredibly intrigued by. I can't wait to see. I'll be the first to admit it to you. As I look at this schedule coming up for this particular Sunday, I'm excited. I'm not excited about Buffalo and Baltimore. I don't expect Buffalo to win that game on the road. Not with Nathan Peterman as your quarterback. Hell no. Pittsburgh, Cleveland, is that a real test? I don't care that Cleveland has Jarvis Landry. I don't care that they've got Josh Gordon back. I don't care about all of that stuff. Myles Garrett on your defense. I don't care about all of that. Cleveland is not good enough. Pittsburgh should handle their business in this particular situation, even without Le'Veon Bell and a bunch of turncoats known as his teammates on that offensive line who talked about him like a bag of trash. That's supposed to be their boy. Knowing he's trying to get his money, knowing this is the business of the National Football League, you're going to talk about him like that. Shame on the Steelers. I'm talking about the players. I'm not talking about the GM. I'm not talking about the coach. I'm not talking about the ownership. I'm talking about players inside that locker room getting paid. And Ramon Foster, he makes 7 times more than me. That's because he's 7 times better. That's why. And I'm not disrespecting Ramon Foster. I know he's an offensive lineman. He's not a running back. But know your damn place. Who do you think you are? Marquise Pouncey talking so flippantly about him. What's the matter with you? Will we be bragging about the Steelers' offensive line if Le'Veon Bell wasn't running behind them? Let's see what James Conner does. I respect this man. I respect his story. Battled cancer, beat it, on the Steelers roster, will be starting Sunday, has worked very hard, very credible individual, mad love for you. He ain't Le'Veon Bell. He ain't Le'Veon Bell. So let's be clear about that. I look at the rest of the schedule. Cincy, Indiana. I'm very happy Andrew Luck is back. I'm very disgusted Marvin Lewis is still a head coach in Cincinnati. Tennessee, Miami intrigues me because I want to see Marcus Mariota. I ain't intrigued by no damn Ryan Tannehill, who's got a below 500 record but a $95 million contract. One of the games of the day I can't wait to see is that Minnesota defense on its home turf hosting Jimmy Garoppolo, Jimmy G, the man who was supposed to be the successor to Tom Brady. Let's see what he's got. I'm curious. I'm anxious. I want to see what he's got. I really, really do. 888-SAY-ESPN. It's 888-729-3776. I want to see that. Another game I want to see. Another game I'm anxious to see. Houston, Deshaun Watson, going back to New England. Remember how they played each other last year? What was it, 38-34? Either 38-34 or 34-31. Deshaun Watson was spectacular. Made mistakes, but overcame them. But he wasn't Tom Brady. But now J.J. Watt's returning. Jadeveon Clowney joking or half joking about deserving Aaron Donald or Khalil Mack money. Oh, please. Please. Stop. J.J. Watt, want to see what he's got? Want to see what Deshaun Watson has, too. And I'm curious about the New England Patriots, believe it or not. Philip Dorsett and Cordarrelle Patterson to join Gronkowski and Chris Hogan with Edelman out, Amendola going to Miami. I'm interested in seeing what New England's got for us. I'm interested in seeing it. Time will tell. Of course, Tampa's at New Orleans. I expect a loss. Ryan Fitzpatrick is a veteran. He's not new to this. He's filling in, and obviously Jameis Winston is ineligible to play for the first 3 games. He's not allowed. He's been suspended. His behavior with the Uber driver and all of that other stuff, groping and everything else, he's lucky he wasn't arrested. But the league suspended him for 3 games, so he won't be there. But I'm interested in seeing Fitzpatrick throw to Mike Evans and Deshaun Jackson. I'm interested in seeing that. Seeing what Tampa has. Of course, again, there's Jacksonville and the Giants because Ramsey's going to go up against Odell Beckham Jr., as in Jalen Ramsey, arguably the best cornerback in football. Here's the problem. He's been saddled to some degree, hobbled with an ankle injury. So I don't know about him. But I don't want any excuses. I don't want any excuses. I like Jalen Ramsey. I believe in him. He's great for the NFL. But I don't want any excuses. GQ magazine and Lord knows where else you talk. You've been talking smack about a whole bunch of people. A whole bunch of people. They so-so, they aight, they trash, all of this other stuff. You know, you can do that. You got to show up. You got to show up. So we definitely going to see what Ramsey's made of. Scott Bouye and Gibson and Church in the secondary with him, but it's still going to be in situations where it's going to come down to him. Now, to his credit, He never disrespected his friend, Odell Beckham Jr. He said Eli Manning was all right, but Eli Manning was a product of Odell Beckham Jr.'s greatness. Other than that, he didn't think much about Eli. Arguably, to me, the game of the day is Kansas City versus the Chargers. Look, that defense with Bosa and the crew is no joke. You got Ingram out of the backfield. You got Keenan Allen as a receiver. You got Phillip Rivers as your quarterback. Let me tell you something right now. You got some people picking the Chargers to go to the Super Bowl. That's how formidable they think the Chargers are. I personally am not going that far, but I will tell you this. I really, really want to see Patrick Mahomes. Look, Tyreek Hill, Kareem Hunt, Travis Kelce, Andy Reid, the list goes on and on. I cannot express to you enough how much these people have been heaping praise upon Patrick Mahomes. It's unbelievable. You would think the second coming of Dan Marino has arrived. These people have been driving me crazy with this. I can't wait to see this kid. I'm like, really? He all that? Really? Really? But that's what they're saying. So we will see what Patrick Mahomes does this Sunday against the San Diego Chargers. Of course, Washington is going to Arizona. You think about two things. With Washington, Jay Gruden, how much time does he have left? And Arizona, when are we going to see Josh Allen? I'm sorry, not Josh Allen, Josh Rosen out of UCLA becoming their starting quarterback, because right now, talk about Sam Bradford, all that stuff, nobody really want to see him. They want to see Josh Rosen. So let's see what happens. And David Johnson and how good he is now that he's back from his wrist injury. Then you've got Dallas and Carolina. Cam Newton against the Dallas Cowboys. My condolences to the city of Charlotte. You're going to find a bunch of Dallas Cowboy friends everywhere. If you want to throw up, I feel your pain, because there's nothing on earth worse than a Cowboy fan, the most disgusting, nauseating fan base in NFL history. No one on earth gets on my nerves more than a Dallas Cowboy fan. You go on a baggage claim, you go in the airport, you go anywhere else, man, stay off my Cowboys, blah, blah, blah. Ain't done a damn thing since I had hair. And these folks sit up there and talk about how, talk about my Cowboys nicely in Philly and make me sick. I hope they lose Sunday. Here's the thing. I don't think they will. I don't know how good Carolina's going to be this year. I really don't. You got Cam Newton. What else is there to believe in? Christian McCaffrey? What else is there to believe in? I'm not saying there's nothing. I'm saying I don't know. I don't have a damn clue. Maybe someone else does. 888-SAY-ESPN. It's 888-729-3776. Of course, Seattle and Denver is a good one. New Sports Illustrated article out, by the way, depicting the divide or chronicling the divide that has taken place with the Seahawks, and how things are not the same. Offense players argue with defensive players and all of this other stuff. All I could do is share to you what a couple of players shared with me over the years. The Legion of Boom as you knew it, the Seattle Seahawks as you once knew it, were done, never to return. The moment Pete Carroll made the decision to have Russell Wilson throw the football over the middle instead of giving it to Marshawn Lynch in the Super Bowl. The second Pete Carroll made that call, it has never been the same. Because you have people who firmly believe Pete Carroll and the Seattle Seahawks were hell-bent on beast mode, Marshawn Lynch not being the hero that day. They wanted the hero to be Russell Wilson. And I think Russell Wilson's big time. Great guy, big time baller, no doubt about it. Got mad love for Russell Wilson. He's one of the top 5 quarterbacks in the game as far as I'm concerned. But clearly, you got a lot of people that had a problem with the preferential treatment that he received. Of course, Mac And Chicago go to Green Bay for Sunday Night Football. Sam Darnold starting against the Detroit Lions on Monday night, followed by the Oakland Raiders going up against one of the prohibitive favorites, the Los Angeles Rams, with all the changes they made, getting Ndamukong Suh to Jordan line with Aaron Donald, getting Aqib Talib and Marcus Peters in the same secondary, re-signing Todd Gurley, ripping up his contract with 2 years left on it and giving him a new deal. All of that stuff and more are things that we've got to talk about. 888-SAY-ESPN. It's 888-729-3776. Your calls coming up, but not before I holler at my man, Louis Riddick, the ultimate NFL insider extraordinaire for ESPN. He'll be right here sitting next to me in a minute, so don't touch that dial. Talking about week 1 of the 2018 NFL season. You are listening live to the Stephen A. Smith Show, ESPN Radio and ESPN News.
I just saved hundreds of dollars by switching to Geico. I should have done this years ago.
Disclaimer, traveling back in time is physically impossible unless you know how to build a functioning time machine. Then by all means, travel 25 years back in time, switch your car insurance to Geico. You could save a bunch of money. While you're there, please prevent your younger self from wearing that sleeveless tuxedo t-shirt, parachute pants, and glitter high tops to your senior prom. And at long last, rectify this horrible crime against nature. Geico is absolved of all liability if you destroy the fabric of time and space.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more.
You're listening to the Stephen A. Smith Show podcast.
Welcome back to the Stephen A. Smith Show right here on ESPN Radio, Sirius XM Channel 80, 250 plus markets across the nation on your AM FM dial, plus ESPN Radio simulcast live on the national television airways of ESPN News. The Stephen A. Smith Show on ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Home Insurance. Getting a quote is easier than ever before. Plus, the flu could be just around the corner. Be prepared for the flu shot from CVS Pharmacy, including those at Target or Minute Clinic. Get your flu shot today. No appointment necessary. Visit cvs.com/flu for details. We've got you covered at CVS Pharmacy. Always great to have my next guest on the line. He's usually on the line, but he's sitting right next to me in studio. He's an NFL analyst and insider extraordinaire for the family. Does a phenomenal job for us right here. Somebody I thought should have been a general manager for the New York Giants, by the way, but that's a different story for another day. The one and only Louis Riddick is sitting right next to me. What's up, Big Time? How are you?
Hey, I'm doing great. I'm just glad I'm back again. I'm glad I'm back.
I feel you. You know what? I'm glad the season's back. I'm glad we're talking about football. I'm glad after last night we found ourselves talking about football. Talk to me, Louis, about what you saw from the Eagles-Falcons game. Your two biggest takeaways from the game last night.
Two biggest takeaways is this. Number one, Doug Peterson really does get the relationship aspect of the football game and how it's played out on Sundays and obviously in this case Thursday night. By that I mean this. He got a good feel for what his players need. And at the time that they called that kind of reverse pass to Nick Foles, he knew that the team needed that, Steve. Mm-hmm. He knew that they needed something to get going because they were just kind of spinning their wheels. They were stuck in mud at that point in time. So I think Doug has kind of picked up right where he has left off as far as understanding the pulse of his football team. That's number one. And that will carry them as this team gets stronger as the year goes on. It's going to carry them. For the Falcons, it's the same old story as far as underperformance on the offensive side of the football. Yeah. They're too good on the perimeter in particular and at the running back position to play like this, to not be able to score points. They should be in the top 5 red zone scoring offense. Scoring offense and red zone TD efficiency, I should say. Mm-hmm. They should be top 5. That falls on a number of different people. You start with the head coach, you go to the coordinator, you go to the quarterback, and then on the other people who then have to make plays. It's a total all-encompassing failure that they didn't score, and they better get it right. Otherwise, I'll tell you what, come January, we're going to be talking about them again as being too talented to be sitting at home talking about the playoffs and making guest appearances at ESPN as we're watching.
Where's the culpability lie in your mind when you think about the Atlanta Falcons and what it is? Because for me, it's at Matt Ryan.
Primarily, I'll tell you what, it's twofold, and I'm with you there. Twofold. I think it lies with the play caller and lies with Matt. Look, there are things that, as far as game planning and setting up how you're going to attack a team in the red zone in particular. Mm-hmm. One, the offensive coordinator comes up with that plan, runs it through the head coach. Then on Monday or Tuesday, the day off, late Monday, Tuesday, they present that to the franchise quarterback and say, look, this is what we're thinking about. Mm-hmm. And at this point in time in Matt's career, that's when he can say, okay, look, tell me what the first and second down plan is. Tell me what the third down plan is. Tell me what the special situations plan is. And in this case, he better be saying, what are we doing in the red area? So it falls on really those three guys. So the head coach approves it. The offensive coordinator finalizes it and calls the plays. And Matt, look, if you're making $30 million a year There's no question. I know you've alluded to this. He has to say, I like this, I don't like this.
Exactly.
This is what I'm comfortable with. This is where I think we're falling short and I can execute maybe this and this better than this and this. Mm-hmm. Then it has to flow on game day. Nobody can tighten up. People can't start forgetting about what you talked about, and they better just execute it. Because if you don't, what happens then is people start losing jobs. People start getting replaced. And don't think that Arthur Blank ain't sitting there going, wait a minute now.
I'm telling you right now, listen, no, Matt Ryan's not going to lose his job.
True.
And I'm not sure.
That's true.
And with Quinn and what he's established for himself, not just as a defensive coordinator, but taking this team to the Super Bowl a couple of years ago, I think he's safe. I think Sarkisian will lose his job if they don't get it right this year.
I don't disagree at all. And you know what? That's where it will roll to, because you're right. Matt isn't going anywhere.
Right.
Dan Quinn has established himself as someone who's on the cusp. The easiest guy to get rid of and replace, because he's the play caller, is Steve Sarkisian. I don't have any disagreement with you there at all.
Let me transition to a different subject, and let's go to let's go to the AFC. Le'Veon Bell saga. I didn't have an opportunity to tell you that. When I listen to those players, particularly on that offensive line, talk about Le'Veon Bell the way they did over the last couple of days, I consider it nothing short of betrayal. The fact that you know the business of football and you know that this man is trying to get his money and you know that it has not happened, to talk about him in that fashion with such a level of aloofness, if not worse, I just thought was incredibly egregious. What was your take on all of that?
In all my years being around professional sports, and in particular professional football, I've never seen a team do that. I've never seen a group of guys do that before to a player, where it literally became a subject of, and it was wide ranging, you know. See, people were kind of hitting me because I had said this the other day about the fact that I thought that was distasteful and it's just wrong. You just don't do that. And people were going, well, they weren't really, well, he lied to him. He told his boys that he was going to be in there and he betrayed them. He said that, you know, he was texting with them and he was going to be there. And they weren't talking about money. I said, they weren't talking about money.
Really?
I said, if I remember correctly, Ramon Foster said in particular that this guy makes 7 times what he makes.
That's right.
And if he doesn't want the money that they're offering him, they can stack it on top of his salary.
Exactly.
So I'm going, wait a minute. They did make it about the money. Whatever they feel about Le'Veon's tactics so far in trying to secure a long-term contract, and we know he can't negotiate right now, so we get that.
We get that.
Whatever they feel about that, look, if you want to have that same conversation in private,
man to man in private,
somewhere in Pittsburgh, downtown, at the point, whatever it is, walking around the river, going to a bar, having a drink, let him have it.
That's right.
If he's your boy, let him have it.
But to say that,
but to say it the way you did, look, I just know this. Look, I've been in the league, man. I've been in them locker rooms. If that would have happened in some of the teams I've been on, there would be blows being thrown.
No question about it. The
you
play that I've covered in my 25 years as a journalist, I know a few dudes. Yeah. There'd have been a fight.
Yeah, you don't do that, and it's just
not that he's in any position to fight Ramon Foster.
No,
Marquise Pouncey. It might be wild for him not to go that route.
Yeah, but you know the point though is it's just strange to hear people do that, because look, I understand that they want their guy there, and maybe Le'Veon did tell him he was going to come,
right,
and then he didn't. Now, another thing people hit me up on was this. Well, did you hear Adisa Bakari? Did you hear what he was saying? He was saying Le'Veon may not play because he's just going to save himself for next year. And his boys are out there going, well, we're trying to win a championship this year, so he should be in there because he owes us. You know what?
Owes them?
You know what?
Really?
I'll put it this way. Football is the ultimate team sport. Believe me, I buy into that more than anybody.
Right.
Okay?
But that's after you get your money. That's after you get your money.
But everybody in the league knows this too. They know that this league will cut you off in a minute, reduce your salary in a minute. I know, because I've been on the front office side too. That's right.
Restructure.
So I understand the cutthroat nature of it. So whatever tactic a guy uses, if you disagree with it, talk to him about it and say you disagree with it, as long as you're being true about it. But don't blast him to the media, because now we're going to sit there and dissect it, and now it truly is going to become a distraction, because that's all people want to talk about with the Steelers now.
Louis Riddick, NFL analyst extraordinaire, right here with Stephen A. on ESPN Radio and ESPN News. Colin Kaepernick, the Nike commercial, and the fallout from that. Doesn't seem to be that major, but again, the season, even though it officially started last night, there were no protests. We don't know what we're going to see this Sunday.
Yeah.
Your thoughts about the Nike ad, your thoughts about Nike stepping up to support Kaepernick, and how much that's going to help or hurt the NFL 2018 season.
I don't think the Nike ad is going to hurt the season at all.
Okay.
I think it's something that, quite honestly, Look, what I think it was Nike, and I think it was Ford also. Wasn't it Ford Trucks who also said
so.
that they stood by Colin and what he was standing for or kneeling for in this case, and what he was fighting for? Look, I think it's something where they are actually setting an example, whether or not you think that their motivations are truly business oriented or they
to me.
yeah.
To me, it's business.
Okay, well,
right.
Whatever it is, the fact of the matter is they are saying, look, we're going to stick behind it. And not many people have done that. There have been many people who have been trying to toe the line and trying to say the right things and trying to stay out of harm's way and not get involved in
and staying away from the athletes who have supported
That's
them.
right. So for Nike to do that, you have to commend them. You have to, because look, we know. I mean, come on now. I mean, people will just, you know what, it's interesting how even in the face of evidence that says that what he is doing is something that should be applauded and it is righteous and is with the best intent in mind, it's amazing that people will still continue to twist this message.
Yes,
I'm blown away by that. And you know what, truly.
Doesn't it annoy you? I mean, when you consider the fact that the message has been hijacked.
On a purely human, personal, just individual level, it's like, look at what you're doing by the way that you're doing. Use your phrase, hijacking this. Look at what you're doing. Right. You're being so disingenuous as to what you are saying that this man is trying to do, and you know it's not true. That it's just like when you hear people go, "Well, just stand. What he's doing is wrong. He's he's disrespect." It's like, what is wrong with people? I don't get that. So look, to get back to your point, I commend Nike. I commend. There are many owners. And there are many people in the National Football League who, without a doubt, stand behind the players 100%.
Right.
There are some who don't. There are some who are afraid of the blowback that will come from people who are kneeling.
Right.
And it's always going to be that way. I don't think in the end, Stephen A., that if the league would just be very forthright and consistent with what they want to do instead of being always reactionary, I really do believe this is something that maybe people would then in the end wind up respecting them for more, and it would go away, so to speak, until it started getting tweeted about again.
I completely agree.
It would go away, but when you kind of hem and haw and react and kind of go, well, we don't want to do this, but we want to do that. We got to have a meeting about a meeting. People start going, you know what people start doing? Right. People go, that's weakness.
That's right. And they exploit
it. You know what?
It.
That's right.
And they
so you know what?
Because they see
Let's dig at them again.
Vulnerability.
That's right. Let's go at them again.
Which is why the president probably does what he does.
Hey,
Louis Riddick right here with Stephen A. on ESPN Radio. Before I let you get on out of here, a couple of quick games. You just need quick answers with this. We got to get ready to go.
I got you.
Texans, Patriots.
On Patriots. Just because you got to look. It's the master and the master versus the pupils and the up-and-comers. Mm-hmm. I still am going to give it to the Patriots. Look, I'm always going to believe in the Patriots till proven otherwise, but don't get me wrong. I respect the heck out of what Bill O'Brien and Deshaun Watson and the gang in Houston got going.
Cowboys, Panthers.
Panthers. I'm going with Big Cam. Big Cam has something to prove. Big Cam showed Kelvin Benjamin in preseason. I'm not playing around this year. I like the Panthers.
Jaguars, Giants.
Ooh, that's a good one. You know what? I'm going to go Giants. Even though I love the Jaguars defense, I'm going to go Giants. You know why? Because I'm rolling with Saquon Barkley, first overall pick in my draft.
You believe on them on that level?
Absolutely.
You believe in them on that level?
No, I believe them on this level in this game at the first game of the season. Now you ask me, I might change my mind, but right now, yeah.
Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs. I mean, come on now.
Chiefs.
There's no defense, Louis. There's no. I spoke to Travis Kelce this morning. There's no defense.
You know what's interesting? I think you know what? Let me be honest. Let me be honest, folks. I think I picked the Chargers in this game, but I'll always ride with Pat Mahomes. And I'm riding with the Chiefs because those are my boys. Stephen A.
You sound almost disrespectful to Phillip Rivers, Louis Riddick.
Stephen A. I picked the Chiefs. I picked the Chiefs.
Always go to roll with Patrick Mahomes.
I picked the Chargers.
Start in his career before he's going to get the Chargers.
But you know this. I think we're similar in this way, right?
Okay.
We get out ahead of things.
Okay.
We don't react to things.
That's true. We say what
Pat
we feel.
Mahomes. See, when he starts blowing it up, there's going to be too many people already going, man, I've watched him at Texas Tech. I saw his game in the preseason. I saw this. I'm going to be like, please, don't even. Just like people tried to silence me last year about golf. Did you try to silence me about golf?
I didn't try to silence you about golf. I had trepidation.
You looked at me side-eye. You were like, what?
I raised my eyebrow. I was right come playoff time, but you were right during the regular season.
No, you killed me in the playoffs.
But you've been talking about Patrick Mahomes. I will be thinking about you this Sunday.
I'll tell you what,
I'm
man.
going to be glued to my TV for Kansas City, San Diego. Not the Los Angeles Chargers. I can't wait to see this.
You know I drafted him in my fantasy team, too.
Lord.
And you know what my fantasy team's name is?
What?
Ferrari Fan Club for Ferrari Pat Mahomes. Eat it, everybody. At me if you want. Ferrari Fan Club.
Wait.
The Ferrari, because his nickname is Ferrari Maholmes.
What's the Twitter address?
My Twitter address?
Yes, yours.
At L Riddick ESPN. You can add it.
All right.
Please, blow my mention up.
Account?
No, I don't have no Facebook.
You got an Instagram account?
Instagram, yeah.
What's the Instagram account?
Louis.Riddick.
Oh, because we need to know where to find you.
Dave,
I'm gonna be looking
y'all
for
know
you.
where I'm at.
I'm gonna be looking for you.
Hey, I ain't hiding.
Okay.
Pat Maholmes, Ferrari Maholmes.
I appreciate you, brother.
All
you
right,
know that.
thank
But
you.
listen, I'm rooting for Patrick Mahomes, but my God, everybody been talking about him like he's the second coming to the damn arena.
Hey, just know this. When y'all get in line to get on this bandwagon, I'm going to be the one handing out the tickets.
One word answer. Chargers or Rams? Who's coming out of their conference to represent the Super Bowl? Either of them?
Chargers or Rams? No, I don't think either one of them.
Who's got the best chance?
The Rams.
Mm-hmm.
Rams. Look, Sean McVay, if he can pull this off with all these personalities, he's the man.
And who's going to be a more bigger success as a rookie? Saquon Barkley or Sam Darnold?
Saquon.
Okay.
Saquon might lead the league in rushing.
Okay. What? What?
Just telling you.
Oh, Lord.
Just telling y'all.
Lord. Louis Riddick,
hey, remember that? Hey,
y'all.
Said it about Kareem Hunt last year. Said it about Kareem Hunt.
I got
y'all didn't believe me.
I didn't question Kareem Hunt. Stop your nonsense. 888-SAY-ESPN. It's 888-729-3776. Louis Riddick is dropping headlines. We'll find out whether he's true. Now, we know where to find him. He'll be in next week. We know where to find him.
I'm afraid to look at my mentions
Appreciate you, brother.
All right, man.
Appreciate you. One and only Louis Riddick right here with Stephen A. ESPN Radio. 888-SAY-ESPN. It's 888-729-3776. Back to more of your phone calls, more discussions about week 1 of this NFL season. Don't touch that dial. I ain't even getting to college football. You're lucky I ain't getting to you about that. More to Stephen A. Smith Show on ESPN Radio in a minute. It's been a long off season without football, but FanDuel has spent it getting into the best shape of their lives. That means this. FanDuel is ready for more. More ways to play. More ways to challenge your friends. And most importantly, more ways to win. FanDuel also has new options for playing daily fantasy with your friends, because the only thing better than winning cash is winning your friends cash. Right now, you can get a $20 bonus when you make your first deposit on FanDuel. Just sign up at FanDuel.com/Stephen A. Age and state restrictions apply.
This is the Stephen A. Smith Show podcast.
I'm Stephen A. Come back to the Stephen A. Smith Show. Hour number 2 of the Stephen A. Smith Show here with you on ESPN Radio, 250 plus markets across the United States of America, plus ESPN Radio on Sirius XM Channel 80, plus the Stephen A. Smith Show on ESPN Radio. Simulcast live over the national television airwaves of ESPN News. Number to call up as always is 888-SAY-ESPN. That's 888-729-3776. You can catch me at Twitter, at Facebook, and Instagram, all at Stephen A. Smith as well. Hour number 2 is here with us, just waiting to have my next guest on the line. It's not going to be Eric Reed. My apologies for that slippage. It's Ed Reed, the future Hall of Famer. Played safety for the Baltimore Ravens, Super Bowl champion, one of the elite safeties to ever play in the National Football League. He'll be with us on behalf of Crown Royal. Looking forward to talking to him the second he gets on the line. Again, the number to call up as always is 888-SAY-ESPN. That's 888-729-3776. The moment he is on the air with us, I will let you know, and we will go from there. For those of you who don't know, who are living under a rock, who are fans in the National Football League, who don't know what the hell you're talking about, that did not pay attention, played 12 seasons, the vast majority of them with the Baltimore Ravens. 2004 Associated Press Defensive Player of the Year, 9-time Pro Bowler, 5-time first team All-Pro, 64 career interceptions, played alongside the great Ray Lewis for many, many years, and also starred at Miami. That's the negative for Ed Reed once he comes on the line with me. I'm going to need him to explain what the hell happened to the Miami Hurricanes last week when they lost to LSU. I'm going to need an explanation from him. Because you know how he, Michael Irvin, Ray Lewis, and all of those boys are about the Hurricanes, but they were not represented appropriately last weekend. That much I will tell you. And I'm definitely going to look forward to talking to him about that. Got to get into a little college football eventually in the show as well, because I'm really looking forward to tomorrow night's game between Clemson and my man Dabo Swinney, head coach for the Clemson Tigers. They're going up against Texas A&M new coach Jimbo Fisher. Real sorry to see my man Kevin Sumlin go. Wish him nothing but the best at Arizona. But I got to admit, I'm excited about seeing what Jimbo Fisher does with the Aggies at Texas A&M. Jimbo Fisher's a hell of a coach. I didn't think he appeared that interested in his last year at Florida State last year. It's going to be real interesting to see what he does. Wish college football resonated more on the East Coast, but damn it, they ain't got any damn programs. So that might have a lot to do with it. But nevertheless, it's some big time games taking place this weekend, and I'm looking forward to talking about them as well. 888-SAY-ESPN. It's 888-729-3776. But until Ed Reed gets on the line with us, let me get to the phones. Jonathan, holla at me. What's going on, man? How are you?
Hey there, Stephen A. Thanks for having me. Big fan.
I appreciate it. Oh, Ed Reed is there? Jonathan, hold on for a second because I got the future Hall of Famer on the line, one of the greatest safeties in the history of the National Football League. My man, the one and only Ed Reed, is here on behalf of Crown Royal. What's going on, Ed? How are you, man?
What's up, Stephen? How you doing, brother?
My brother, it's always good to talk to you. I've missed talking to you. It's been a while, but as much love as I have for you, you know I'm going to get on you a little bit right now, right? What the hell happened to your Hurricanes?
All good.
What happened to your Hurricanes last weekend? Miami Hurricanes against LSU.
See, what had happened was we came out overly prepared, man. I don't know. You know, we still got some stuff we're working out. What people fail to realize is that we're still young. You know, I know we had a great year last year, but we kind of saw what we were at the end of the season. You know, we just couldn't get in no rhythm, man. Every time we got the ball, somebody on LSU side got hurt. Mm-hmm. You know, so I just felt like we really couldn't get in the rhythm. There were some other things there.
Yeah, there were some other things.
Discuss.
Now, Ed-Reed.
Yeah, no doubt.
Now, Ed-Reed, we've spoken on a few occasions in the past. You know Ray Lewis is my brother, and I know that's your man, too.
Mm-hmm.
You know good and damn well I'm not going to let you get away with that youth argument. Y'all wasn't talking about that last season. After the way y'all finished last season, we was on a come-up.
I was. We're coming back. We're not there yet.
Okay. All right. Ed Reed, the great Ed Reed right here with Stephen A. on behalf of Crown Royal, one of America's best-selling and most loved whiskeys, is building upon the Hydrate Generously platform that started in 2017 and is now launching its largest ever responsible drinking campaign, The Water Break. Ed Reed, let's get right to it. The NFL season officially opened last night. You saw the Eagles against the Atlanta Falcons. What was your biggest takeaway from that game?
Take your points when you got a chance to take your points. This is a professional league. You know, I am a coach at heart, player at heart, but coach on and off the field.
Okay.
So I just feel like you got to take your points when you got a chance to get points, you know, because it's hard to get points in this league as we see. You know, it was some other things you got. I mean, from a player's perspective, you got to make your plays. You know, and obviously you got to play smart. It's a smart man's league now. It always has been a smart man's league. You know, we've been saying for years that it's 90% mental, 10% physical, you know, which is it's the truth. You know, it's a thinking man's game, but you don't want to be out there thinking. When you can minimize the thoughts and just play fast, you'll be all right.
You know,
it's a smart man's league.
And Reed, it's interesting that you say that because I remember watching, and I'm assuming you're talking early in the game. You get down in the red zone on 2 occasions. You only walk away with 3 points. You could have kicked the field goal on the first drive, at least walked away with those 3, right? Obviously, they elected to go for it on a 4th and goal. They elected not to do so. Here's my question. Because, see, this is my problem with Quinn and particularly Sarkisian and the Atlanta Falcons. I thought they made that decision based on their own ego and what we're trying to overcome, as opposed to looking at the opposition, understanding I got Fletcher Cox and Brandon Graham and Elodie Nada and Michael Bennett and those boys on the other side of the football. It might behoove me to just take these damn 3 points. I don't think they looked at it that way. They were thinking about themselves and what their own deficiencies were last year. What did you take from that?
Yeah, I mean, you could definitely say that. You know, they came in the game with probably some thoughts from last year, you know, from that championship game and not getting over that hump and wanted to say, you know what, here we are. But like you said, they got a defense, man, you know, and if you can't get in that 3 tries from where you were at, you might want to think about this, you know, and definitely think about your play calling, you know, because, I don't know, that toss, man, after you threw the ball, you just knew it was coming when you got in the goal line defense. But anyway,
I got you. I got you. Ed Reed right here with Stephen A. On ESPN Radio.
Smart, man.
I got you. Let me move on to a couple of other subjects because, when I saw last night, these new rules that the NFL has implemented trying to avoid you hitting with the crown of your helmet, et cetera, obviously it's an incredibly difficult position to put a player in, particularly a player in today's generation that's accustomed to playing a certain way that's different than what the rules, and you can't avoid it. How do you feel the new rules that the NFL has implemented as it pertains to the crowning of the helmet is going to affect NFL players this season?
It's going to affect defense mainly, right? It's going to affect more defensive guys mainly. It's always slowing the defense down. Mm-hmm. We want to create points some type of way, help the offense, a little bit. Because it's going to affect the defense more. You're going to get guys thrown out the game. You're getting 15-yard penalties. That's going to keep drives going. It's just changing the game. You're really putting the game in referees' hands to some degree, and letting them make the decisions. And it could be at key points, key moments in the game,
mm-hmm.
And I don't think that's what the people want. I know that's not what the people want. You want to see a good, clean game, no doubt, in which it's got to be more from the player's perspective of a brotherhood, protecting each other.
But is that realistic, Ed? And listen, Ed, is that realistic considering the money that is involved, the power that the NFL teams have? You can waive, you can cut, you can restructure a dude's deal. Did we talk about team and we talk about brotherhood in the National Football League? Yeah. But isn't it really about every man for themselves at this particular moment in time because of the financial structure of the league?
Yeah, that's what they've kind of made it. It's kind of a system that's been implemented, but that's a tough one, Stephen A., bro, really. Like I said, it's been implemented for so many years, man, and that's the biggest gripe, that I had kind of when people like football players who use their platform and this. Well, every player don't have that platform. Every player is not making $1 million.
Mm-hmm.
So that does affect on how guys don't play the game because some guys just can't afford to lose that check,
It's a very valid point.
And guys can't afford it, so yeah, it's going to affect the game, man. No doubt about it that affects it. But that's why I said they need to put it in contracts, guaranteed contracts. Let guys know what can come from playing football, the violent injuries, the CTE, the concussions, the after football stuff that can happen to you if you play this game. If that's in the contract, we're guaranteed in the contract, and we're going to guarantee some part of your contract, percentage-wise, whatever it may be, I think that should be implemented. That way you can keep the game.
Hold on. Let me be clear. Hold on, Ed Reed. Let me be clear for my listeners. You're saying what should be implemented in the contract as a guarantee? Specifically, what are you talking about?
I'm talking about the concussions, the injuries, the stuff you can die from playing football, basically. And this is how. These are the things that happen to ex-players, CTE,
In other words, make the players aware of the risk. Put it down in writing so when they sign on a dotted line, it absolves you from culpability as a league. That's what you're saying?
Yes, exactly. You implement all these other rules, right?
Mm-hmm.
Implement that what can happen from football. What can happen. We all know what can happen, but yet alone, we still have these kids playing recreational football going ham at each other, making helmet-to-helmet contact at the little league level. You know what I'm saying? We got guys that have been paralyzed in the college level. So, yes, you have to put this stuff in there. This is what can happen to you. This is what can happen to your kid, man, if he plays this game.
Got it. Got it. Ed Reed right here with Stephen A. on ESPN Radio and ESPN News. Are you going to coach in the NFL, man? Are you going to coach in the NFL?
I would love to, Steve, man. If I could get with the right ownership, the right staff, I would love.
Well, why the hell ain't you in Baltimore after all you did for that organization? I don't know how relevant they would be if it wasn't for you. Say what?
I think you can answer that question.
What, do you need me to call Bisciotti? Do you need me to call Bisciotti? You need me to call John Harbaugh? Is that what you need me to do, Ed Reed? Because you should be coaching. I think you should.
They have my number.
Ed Reed right here with Stephen
A.
Yeah,
my number.
Ed Reed right here with Stephen A. on ESPN Radio. Let me ask you this, because as you look back on your career, the illustrious career that you had, what was so special? I mean, when you think about defenses in today's day and age and how we brag about certain defenses that exist, obviously Baltimore was one of them during your heyday with Ray Lewis and the crew. What if you had to really pinpoint and dissect it for folks that may not know any better? What do you believe was the ingredients to y'all's success as a defensive unit?
Tradition and leadership. You know, we had certain things, man, certain standards we had that guys had to really uphold. You know, I came from a background of football where guys looked out for each other. You know, in order to win, you had to work together. You had to be on the same page. You had to know each other. You know, so the things we did, going out together, watching tape together, doing those little things just to become even closer as family, because we were a family. You know, it was a family away from my family, you know, because I spent a lot more time with those guys than I did with my own family. Mm-hmm. You know, so that standard that we really had, we had a standard, you know, on defense that we had a standard from the secondary positions for myself and my DBs that we were going to set, and it was going to trickle down to the linebackers, to the D-line, to the whole defense, to the offense to say, this is how we work, and it's going to be done every day. You know, so when you're leading, as I did, by example first, you know, that's going to say more than anything, because I think people see what you're doing before they actually hear what you're saying.
Ed Reed right here with Stephen A. on ESPN Radio. Let's go through some of the other storylines that exist in the NFL entering the week one. For me, one of the more compelling storylines is this kid, Patrick Maholmes. Look, man, this brother's breath smell like Similac, wet behind the ears. I've only seen him play one game in the NFL. They talk about this brother like he the second coming of Dan Marino. Kansas City's defense isn't expected to do much, but offensively, we're hearing a lot about this kid, Patrick Mahomes. What's your expectations for him, Ed Reed, this season?
I mean, he's a rookie, right?
That's right. That's right.
I mean, as a rookie, man, I mean, it could be tough, you know, but you got a great coach like Andy Reid who knows guys. There's going to be some growing pains with the rookie. You know, maybe not this year. Maybe you have a great rookie year, and it comes hit him the second year like it hit Dak and those guys. You know, so it's going to be interesting to see, man. If you got a guy that understands your scheme and understands, you know, what to do with the football for the most part, you know, you got to go with him. You got to go with him. But at the same time, you know, you got to understand he is a rookie, so there's going to be some growing pains, you know, and it's just going to be a matter of that rookie. Do he take those growing pains and grow from them, or he take those growing pains and they grow on him?
Let me transition.
You know,
let me transition to the NFC. The Washington Redskins let Kirk Cousins walk away to Minnesota. They acquired Alex Smith from Kansas City. Do you see any difference for the Washington Redskins? I don't see much of a difference between Kirk Cousins and Alex Smith.
Nah,
what about you?
I really didn't see that. I didn't understand that move. You know, outside of you paid Kirk Cousins all that money and you haven't won anything. So that was interesting to me. Mm-hmm. You know, not saying I'm not a Kirk Cousins fan, but I'm not a Kirk Cousins fan.
Well, let me ask you this question, Ed Reed. Who are you a fan of in today's NFL? Give me the list. Give me the short list, because I know it's short. Who are you a fan of?
Quarterback position?
Go ahead. I'm listening.
General?
Well, whatever you want. You know what? I got one for you. You don't even have to go by position. Give me your top 5 favorite players in the NFL. I didn't say best or worst. I said favorite.
I like Eric Berry. I love this kid's heart. I like Landon and Earl. I like, you know, safeties.
Landon Collins.
I'm always looking at.
Landon Collins, Giants. All right. Eric Berry, Kansas City. Who else did you say?
I'm a Luke fan. Luke Kuechly.
Luke Kuechly from Carolina.
Yeah, Kuechly. I love.
I mean, these are all dudes that play your position or the linebacker spot. Any offensive players you like?
Yeah, man. Man, offense is just, those guys are electric, man. A bunch of those guys, there's so many, man. I'm a big Todd Gurley fan. Of course, I love Frank Gore. He's still doing his thing, man. Frank is my guy, after all the stuff that he's been through.
Hey, listen, I know you got to go, but before I let you get on out of here, what the hell are Ravens going to do this year with Flacco? Give it to me straight. Your former team.
He's going to be as far as I know, he's going to be the quarterback. Joe is the quarterback, man. I mean, I don't know how far Lamar is into the scheme. Can he run the whole scheme? He probably can. Mm-hmm. But Joe is the quarterback. Joe, unless Joe gets hurt, that's the only way I see somebody else getting on the field for a full-time job.
Ed Reed, man, I appreciate you coming on the show. Thank you so much. But by the way, not only do we got to go to break, I got to run to the bathroom because your boy Ray Lewis got me drinking a gallon of water a day. A gallon of water a day.
You got to take your water breaks, man. You got to take your water breaks. That's why we own with Crown Royal. Crown Royal wants you to take those water breaks. We partnered together to let fans know to take those water breaks that we don't need, nobody not enjoying the game or messing with folks, as they're in the game because they overconsume.
I got you.
Drink in moderation, drink your water, hydrate, and that's the key to life.
I got you. And you listen, your boy Ray Lewis got me drinking a gallon. So you tell Crown Royal I'm following their rules as well. And Ed Reed, y'all got me drinking so much water, man. So I got to go.
You got it, Stephen, man. You need to let me come follow you for some time, man, so I can learn these tricks of these trades.
Ain't no problem. Man. I got you covered. You ain't said nothing but a word. I can help you with the industry, but you damn sure can't help me with playing football because I never dreamed of trying to do that. I'm too old for that now anyway.
We are too old.
There you go. Thanks a lot, my man. Take it easy. All the best to you.
You too, big brother.
All right. The one and only Ed Reed, future Hall of Famer. Ed Reed, formerly of the Baltimore Ravens, Super Bowl champion with the Baltimore Ravens, right here with Stephen A. on ESPN Radio and ESPN News. 888-SAY-ESPN. It's 888-729-3776. More of the Stephen A. Smith Show. Back to your phone calls as well in a minute. You're listening live to your boy, Stephen A. on ESPN Radio, ESPN News.
Computer, execute 12.4p operation.
Optimizing algorithm. Running encryption packet alpha. Night. Oh, I don't feel so good.
What is it, computer?
Is it hot in here? It feels hot in here. I feel a little clammy. I should lie down or something.
A computer with a virus? Surprising. What's not surprising? How much you could save by switching to Geico.
Those oysters Rockefeller were a mistake.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more.
You're listening to the Stephen A. Smith Show podcast.
My honor to have my next guest on the line. Former offensive lineman in the National Football League for a few years. Carolina Panthers, Minnesota Vikings, Kansas City Chiefs, New York Giants. Drafted in 2008 to 241st pick overall in the 2008 draft. Now doing some work for the Action Network, which is a media company focused on sports betting data, analytics, and content. Also does some work here for us at ESPN. I'm talking about the one and only Mr. Geoff Schwartz. He's on the line with us right now. What's going on, Geoff? Good afternoon. How are you, buddy? How's everything?
Oh, fantastic. Stayed up late to watch a football game last night that wasn't terribly exciting, but I'm glad football's back.
You know what? I got to tell you something. I was excited. I wasn't impressed, but I was excited. I mean, it was a close game. It was a close game. It was football. It was thrilling in that regard. I'll tell you this much, but I couldn't wait to have you on because even though I know that you're here and you're going to talk about the odds, particularly emanating out of Vegas and beyond, and I'm interested in getting your take on that. Before I get into any of that, as an offensive lineman, I'm really interested in getting your take on this. Le'Veon Bell gets called out by his guys. Yeah. Geoff, I got to tell you something, man. I have no problem with how they feel. Please don't get me wrong. I have no problem with how Ramon Foster, Marquise Pouncey, and those boys feel. My going off about them was their willingness to say what they did publicly with the cameras rolling, understanding the business of the National Football League. Geoff, I got to admit to you, I thought it was betrayal, flat out betrayal. What was your take on it?
I generally, I generally agree with the idea of what you're talking about, where you shouldn't really talk about someone's money. You shouldn't go out of your way in the media and blast one of your teammates. But it's funny you use the word betrayal because I think they felt that Le'Veon Bell betrayed them. He obviously told them that he would be there on Wednesday and he was not. And they've been very supportive of Le'Veon Bell through this entire process, through social media, through publicly, and something obviously changed between when they were supportive of him on Monday and Tuesday to Wednesday. And here's where I come down on this. It's tough for me to believe the Steelers should still be rooting for Le'Veon Bell in his holdout. I'll tell you why. He's basically admitted through his agent and through his actions really that he's going to sit out 2018 or parts of 2018 to get ready for 2019 on a different team. So it's hard for me to think that the Steelers should still be rooting for him when the current season starts now, when he can help their team now. So he stays healthy enough to sign somewhere else next year and not play for them.
Jeff,
so
I understand that thinking, Jeff. I can't knock where you're coming from. I guess what I'm saying to you is this. As a player, you're keenly aware of the business side of it. And so knowing that the NFL teams have the power to waive, to cut, to restructure for lesser salaries, that the business side of things clearly work in favor of the team and against the player.
Yes.
He just saw Todd Gurley get 2 years ripped up and get extended. He saw Khalil Mack and Aaron Donald hold out. He's 26 years old, universally recognized as one of the top 2 running backs, if not number 1 in all of football. My point is, if you're an offensive lineman, you can't understand why that's what he's supposed to do. That's all he's got left to me, as healthy as he possibly can be for 2019.
See, I think we're confusing because Ramon Foster made that comment about money. I wish he hadn't said the comment about money because I think the conversation would change.
Okay.
They're still rooting for him to get paid. I don't think they're not. But here's also a part of this too is there's no negotiation, no leverage left. Like he is stuck on this franchise deal, and that's a bigger conversation for the next CBA, right? Franchise tags. Hopefully we can get, negotiate those out of the next CBA. So there really is no negotiation, no leverage left for 2018. And I think that's kind of my point is that when the season starts, it transitions from, okay, we get, you want to get yours, you want to stick it to the Steelers, but like now we're trying to win, and if we win, it benefits the entire team, right? Obviously everyone gets paid more and you get more bonuses and you get more lavish and everything if you win a Super Bowl. So I get where they're coming from. I just wish, and I agree with you, it was distasteful to mention the money issue because look, I know guys make more than me when I played, right? A quarterback, a wide receiver, running, like everyone makes more. I mean, Ramon Foster's getting paid, Villanueva's getting paid, DeCastro's getting paid. But Bouncy, I understand where their angst was coming from because it sounds like they thought he'd be there Wednesday and he just wasn't, obviously.
Geoff Schwartz, former offensive lineman in the National Football League, now an analyst for the Action Network, Action Network's ESPN Plus show. I'll take that bet. Also hosts a show on the weekends on ESPN Radio. By the way, for those of you not familiar with the Action Network, is the app that makes you a better with real-time spreads, decades of gambling-specific data and analysis, and the ability to track every bet you make. Share your wins with your friends and stay up to speed on the sports info that impacts you most. Download the free app at actionnetwork.com/app. Let's get to some of these picks, Geoff Schwartz, because I'm interested in knowing Chicago Bears plus 7.5 over the Green Bay Packers. Your thoughts about that?
Yeah, it's a lot of points to lay if you're picking the Packers. I think it's now at 7 even. So it's moving toward the Bears. I don't know, man. Like I'm of the opinion in the NFL that when we think it's your year, it's never your year. So everyone's talking about the Bears this being their year, even the Rams, I should say, being their year, the Jaguars. It never really is your year. You have Aaron Rodgers right now, obviously back and healthy. And one thing people are forgetting in this game is obviously Khalil Mack is now on the Bears. The Packers might have the best pass blocking tackles in the NFL. It's not going to swing very much. This particular game, having Khalil Mack on the team. Yeah, it might give him some pressure, but Balaga and Bakhtiar are very good. If I were to bet this game, and I think it's a lot of points, and now it's even moving to Packers -7. If you could grab the Packers favored by less than a touchdown, like if it moves to 6 or 6.5, I would take the Packers.
Let's go to another one. The Chiefs plus 3.5 over the Los Angeles Dodgers. I'm interested in that one.
To be fair, my brother plays for the Chiefs. So,
okay.
I didn't look, the Chiefs own the Chargers. I believe Andy Reid is something like 9-1 against San Diego. We saw last year San Diego had to go to Kansas City and win and got blown out. The one caveat obviously is Pat Maholmes starting his first game as the quote unquote starting quarterback, and he was up and down, and the Chiefs secondary really struggled. But I think you're getting a great coach in Andy Reid in week one when he has a lot of time to game plan for this. He's really good after buys and in week one. I lean taking the Chiefs to the points here.
Let's go to number 3. Jaguars at Giants. Giants +3. Talk to me about that one.
Oh, give me the Giants and +3. I am so selling Jacksonville this year, for a couple of reasons, and it starts in this game. One, and they are healthy on defense, but out of 176 possible starts for their starting 11, they missed a total of 4 last season. They were extremely healthy last season. So that's not going to happen 2 years in a row. It never happens 2 years in a row. And Blake Bortles is really bad on the road against NFC opponents. I think he's 3-11 against the spread. And you have a Giants team, I think it's being very undervalued. Olivier Vernon is out on defense, but you have still a really good run defense. You have 2 Pro Bowlers in the back end. And look at their offense. They redid 4/5 of their offensive line. They drafted Saquon Barkley. You have a healthy Odell, Sterling Shepard, Evan Ingram, and Eli Manning, who was on the preseason, can still play. So I like the Giants here, +3.
What about the Texans +6.5 at New England?
It's an interesting game. A lot of people are going to take the Texans here. It might be the smart play, but I just generally don't bet against New England. I don't know why you would.
Right.
It's one of the things where I don't know how you bet against New England. Every time we think they're down and out, they go out and play really well. Now, historically, the first couple of weeks of the year, the first month is the time of the year to catch New England kind of slipping. We saw the Chiefs last year go into New England and pound them. We saw it actually happen a couple of years ago with the Chiefs as well on Monday Night Football. So I think the smart play would be probably take the Texans and the points, but I generally don't bet against Tom Brady.
Jimmy Garoppolo and the San Francisco 49ers at the Minnesota Vikings -6.
Yeah, this is another game here it's a tough line. It's one of those games again where you have a big, a team in San Francisco that everyone thinks a lot of. I just worry, and we've seen Minnesota in the preseason just kind of slow on offense. And I do worry with a new coordinator, a new quarterback, offensive line injuries kind of in flux, that it's going to be a slow start for them. So I kind of like San Francisco. They're getting 6.5 now as well. I kind of like the points here in the Niners.
Talking to Geoff Schwartz, former offensive lineman in the National Football League, right here with Stephen A. on ESPN Radio and ESPN News. Before I let you get on out of here, just a couple of more that I'm looking at here. Jets +6.5 at the Detroit Lions.
Yeah, give me the Jets here. I think the Lions probably win this game, but I love Sam Darnold. I think he's been fabulous so far.
He hasn't played a game yet, Jeff.
I know. But
it's the preseason.
This is one of the things that I hate saying this. I hate saying this. I'm going to say it anyways because it's very uppity and it's a very former player, but there's just something about him that if you've played, you kind of can sense it. And I've talked to other people around the league that feel the same way. And the poise, here's the one play that I go back to the preseason. I know it's the preseason. You're exactly right. I agree. It was his first drive with the ones, I don't know, game 2 or 3, 3rd down and 7. He had a free rusher in his face. Free rusher right in his face. No one was blocking him.
Okay.
What did he do? No panic. Stepped up. Threw for a first down.
Okay.
He's been able to find his outlet every time possible. The Jets played really well last year under Todd Bowles. I think the offensive line is being undervalued there in the run game. And plus the Lions haven't looked good at all this preseason and they have no pass rush. So I think you get a lot of points. And the Monday night games in week 1, by the way, there's 2 of them. They're always kind of weird too. And so I just feel like the Jets are getting a lot of points here. I take them +6.5.
Jeff, great job as always, man. I really appreciate you coming on the show. Thanks a lot, buddy. You take it easy.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it. Thanks for having me on.
All right, buddy. The one and only Geoff Schwartz, former offensive lineman for the various NFL teams, about 3 or 4 teams, including the New York Giants. Also an analyst for the Action Network, right here with Stephen A. on ESPN Radio. 888-SAY-ESPN. It's 888-729-3776. We get back to your calls, and you're listening live to Stephen A. on ESPN Radio, ESPN News.
Guess what? You're in the middle of the Stephen A. Smith Show podcast.
Damn it, I mean it! Let's go to Terry. You're live with Stephen A. What's up?
First time caller, man. It's great to talk to you. I know you're going to hate it.
Whatever. Hurry up with your cowboy loving self. Hurry up, say what you got to say.
All right, man. Are they too much pressure on Prescott for this year?
Not about that. Well, he's got to show up because when he didn't have Ezekiel Elliott for 6 games last year, he didn't do much, and the offense didn't do much. Then they blamed it on attrition. They blamed it on Des Bryant not being able to get open, Jason Witten being a bit old, Cole Beasley, Terrence Williams not being able to be in sync for whatever the reason may be. But now you don't have that. You got Allen Hurns there instead of Des Bryant right now. You still got Cole Beasley. You still got Terrence Williams. And more importantly, you got Ezekiel Elliott. We can slice it any way we want to, but this is Ezekiel Elliott's offense until Dak Prescott proves that his first year in the NFL wasn't a fluke. Until then, you are what you are. Have a nice day. That's about as much of the Cowboy love I can take. Let's go to Lynn in North Carolina. You're live with Stephen A. Real quick, Lenny, go ahead.
Hey, what's going on, Stephen A?
It's good to talk to you, bro.
Long time no talk to.
Absolutely,
Real quick, condolences for your dad. Feel bad about it for you, but I'm happy for them. They went home.
Thank you, bro.
Number 2, man, give the Eagles defense some love.
Mad love.
I mean, they just showed up.
Monsters with Fletcher Cox, Brandon Ingram, Haloti Ngata acquiring him, Michael Bennett as well. I mean, my Lord, they're going to be able to get out the quarterback and stuff to run. They were number 1 against the run last year. I would fear the Eagles if I was anybody in the NFC. But go ahead.
Oh, well, that was it, bro. I got a lot of other things. I mean, I'll talk to you in a minute.
I'll be around.
Yeah, but I want somebody else to get in, but I'll call back when I got some time.
Anytime.
And I can talk to you. I got a lot of things, bro.
Thanks a lot, man. Appreciate the call. Thank you so much. Kentrell, you're live with Stephen A. Real quick, Kentrell, go ahead.
Hey, Stephen A. Long time no speak.
Go ahead, buddy.
So I don't think Le'Veon should play. I think he's going to be working as his own individual entity on the field, and I'm kind of scared for him to go back on the field this season.
So am I.
I have a question for you. So out of Roethlisberger, Breeze, and Rodgers, who has the most pressure going into the season?
I'd say Roethlisberger. You got a team, a high-powered offense. You've been knocking at the door. The AFC is weaker than the NFC. If I'm Drew Brees, is there shame if I lose to Philadelphia? Is there shame if you lose to Aaron Donald and Ndamukong Suh to keep Talib and Marcus Peters in Los Angeles? Is it shameful if I lose to Aaron Rodgers? Is it shameful if I lose to the Philadelphia Eagles or the Minnesota Vikings and their top-ranked defense? No, it is not. It's no shame for if I'm Drew Brees and I lose to those guys. He should have lost to Minnesota, that damn fluke play that ended up with Stephon Diggs scoring a touchdown. By the way, that's a great new commercial with Stephon Diggs for Geico where his hand is stuck to, everything sticks to his hand and stuff like that. It was hilarious. It's a great commercial. I'm happy for him. But they lucked up. In the case of New Orleans, there's not really that much pressure. In the case of the Pittsburgh Steelers, the only team standing in your way is Tom Brady. You should be better than Kansas City. The San Diego Chargers, the Los Angeles Chargers haven't been in the playoffs in 7 of the last 8 years. Don't get me started with the Raiders. Bradley Chubb and Von Miller can only do so much for Denver. Houston ain't ready. Jacksonville's got Bortles. I mean, what's the problem? If you're the Steelers, it's all about beating Tom Brady and the New England Patriots. So all the pressure is on Big